had planned on taking a nap, but the boat really was shaking bad. Was she going to the island? I gave up on sleeping and went up onto the deck. There I was welcomed by the shining sun and a strong sea breeze. Amakusa had been doing some stretches on the deck. He must have a lot of time on his hands too. After all, it'll be several more hours before we reach Niijima. Niijima? What are they doing there? It would only have taken a couple dozen minutes by airplane, but there was the chance that the Niijima airport was under the Sumadera family's web. Was that close to Rokkanjima? I forgot. The harbor would probably be the same. For that reason I had obtained a boat that would let me land while avoiding the harbor, no questions asked. I had bumped into a cheery boat captain, plied him generously, and he had decided to help me out, amused. Still gonna be a while? I just asked the captain. It sounds like it'll take a full 2 hours more. Well, beggars can't be choosers. The weather sure is nice. Feels like I'll burn. Going to read on the deck? Damage your book. Amakusa apparently thought this because I was clutching Maria Onechan's diary under my arm. I'd been reading it half asleep, which was why I'd come back up still clutching it. How's it going? Think you'll be able to find the truth of Rokkanjima from Maria-san's diary? Who knows? No matter how much I investigate what happened on that island, it won't make for anything more than a theory. There's no truth written in the message bottle or Onechan's diary, just a fairy tale with a witch walking around. I'm stuck. Looks like you've got... Man. Looks like you've got nothing to look forward to except questioning those involved on Niijima. I imagine the witch hunters have showered them with questions over and over, so I'm pretty sure I won't find any new facts. So even though your hopes are that low, you're willing to spend a half-day trip on the boat to go to Niijima anyway. Talk about fickle. It's like a journey of self-satisfaction, so that I can say I investigated. I'm not so naive as to seriously think that the truth of 12 years ago will be revealed. And when you're done with your self-satisfaction trip, what do you do next? Who knows? I haven't thought about it. I'll go to Niijima, ask some people who were involved. Then after going to Rokkanjima in the end and leaving some flowers, my journey will be over. Several days have already passed since the journey began. After being told by Bernkastel on the roof of that building to search for the truth of 12 years ago, I left on a journey like trying to grasp a cloud. At the time I felt as though I had experienced something mystical and had the feeling that I might be able to grasp some kind of miracle at the end of this journey. But after several days passed, my excitement died down. On that day, when I stood on the roof of that skyscraper, my heart was completely cornered and dead. So I wandered from the bottom of my heart to be released from the cage of my body and rise into the sky, and had crossed the fence in order to die. Maybe experiencing the desire to die and actually stepping forwards, throwing my body down, caused some kind of mystical experience inside my head, making me think I had received a message from a witch. The excitement from my jump lessened over time, and the more I came back to my senses, the more this journey lost its meaning. But I didn't even consider suspending this journey just because of that. If I stop this journey, it'll mean acknowledging that the message from that witch was an illusion, and I felt as though that meant throwing away the promise the witch made, and any chance that someone from my family might come back. So because it was hard to believe that those events were an illusion, I've continued on my journey. I don't seriously believe that this journey will change anything. It's even up to me when to end this journey. It's up to me to choose where the final destination is. In the end, this journey is only for my self-satisfaction. Self-satisfaction, huh? Sounds bad when you say it, but I think that's actually what life is all about. Oh? If that's the answer you've reached after hovering over the line between life and death and the mercenary business, that's probably pretty deep. Don't take it so lightly. What I'm trying to say is that the only one who can acknowledge you in this world is you yourself. Amakusa continued stretching as he spoke, and in an irritatingly fresh way. Hearing it told to me as though from a teacher made me instinctively want to resist, but what he was saying was extremely sensible. That may be true. People work hard when they want to be acknowledged by someone. In most cases, that someone is their parents. Children learn how to work hard because they want to be praised by their parents. Although that's why I never learned. Sorry, that's not how I meant it. What I'm trying to say is that there's nothing wrong with self-satisfaction. No matter who praises you, it's meaningless unless you can accept it. Turning it around, even if no one praises you, that doesn't matter as long as you can accept it. Self-satisfaction tends to contradict the desire to improve oneself, so we're usually taught that it's bad. Somehow your argument seems like a pretty fresh take on it, Amakusa. The anguish of the human world comes when you want someone to acknowledge you, but you don't know what it is you should be striving for. I had a time like that too. I wanted to be acknowledged by someone, but I didn't know what I wanted them to acknowledge about me. And since I didn't know what to strive for or how far I should go to be acknowledged, I did a lot of crazy things. And the answer you reached was self-satisfaction? Sounds bad, but that's how it is. Which is the one who is content with what they are, they say. If I'm satisfied with my life, it doesn't matter what other people say. It's the same for your life and for this journey. No one has any right to criticize you other than you yourself, Aegis-san. You're the only one who determines the meaning and results of your journey. If it's been a meaningful journey for you, then that's more than enough. I always did take you for a flippant ladies' man, but you really do say weird things every once in a while. I'll bet you think saying stuff like that will make you popular. Of course not, of course not. It's not how I meant it at all. It looks like you want to be alone. I'll head over to see the boat captain. Please take it easy. Amakusa apparently decided I was in a bad mood, although I didn't feel that way myself. Or he might have finished a set of stretches and wanted to cool off in the shade. The sea winds were strong, but not enough to cool the rays of the sun. Amakusa disappeared. Only I remained. Self-satisfaction is life itself, huh? The fuck? That's just boring. Life is nothing without greed. I noticed that Mammon had suddenly appeared, her abundant hair fluttering over by the prow of the ship. It's true that a life of greed would be fun, but unlike you, humans have a limited lifespan. If greed is eternal, that means a person will have desires even in his last moment before they die. Having desires means there's something that you want, something you don't have, somewhere you aren't complete. I'm sure it's tough to die when you can't think of your life as being a full one, so I'm sure self-satisfaction is necessary. I see, because of the existence of a lifespan you have to compromise like that. All of my masters had very long lifespans, so I've never thought of it. I wonder if humans live for the purpose of becoming satisfied. If so, it's probably easiest to live without desires. I see. So that's why greed is one of the 7 deadly sins. Psh, you praise honors me. Apparently that counted as a compliment in Mammon's eyes. She turned and gave a graceful bow. Angie-sama, do humans live so that they can find satisfaction at the moment of their death? Wouldn't it be pretty tough if you felt you were lacking something when you died? If so, then humans live only so that they can meet a satisfying death. They live so that they can have a better death. They live so that they can die. This kid is saying something pretty incredible. I see, as I'd expect from a demon steak. Demon steak. However, it might be the truth. Humans suffer because they are unsatisfied and live only to find satisfaction. In other words, that might be the same as a desire to die satisfied. I can't counter that. People live in order to be satisfied, and they hope to die that way. So it's really painful when you don't know how to find that satisfaction. Just how can you find something like that in a human's life? By being acknowledged, by hearing someone say, you are happy. If it doesn't matter who acknowledges them, then I'll do it. Yeah, that's the problem. People don't know who needs to acknowledge them. So searching for this person who can acknowledge them is the journey of their life? Huh? Sounds strange. Whether you're acknowledged or not, it supposedly doesn't change your circumstances, and yet if you are acknowledged, you will be satisfied, while if you aren't, then you won't. It's almost like the blue bird. Because you can't notice the bluebird even though it's already in the cage, you have to go out on a journey searching everywhere. And hence religion. What the heck? Human lives sure are stupid. That's right, that sums it up quite well. Human lives sure are stupid. Amakusa said something really good. Which is the one who is content with what they are, was it? I don't know where that proverb came from, but it's deep. Basically, if you can't find enough satisfaction unless someone else acknowledges you, that's the same as not acknowledging yourself. The ultimate in self-fulfillment is acknowledging yourself. That's right, because if you can know that you're fully satisfied, there's no need to be acknowledged by anyone. Just by taking notice of the small things, the human's foolish journey of life can be ended easily. You can spend the rest of your life playing and having a good time. A human's life is so ridiculous. Mama's choice of words was bad, but it was surely the truth. If most of a human's life is a journey with the hopes that someone will acknowledge them, so that they can achieve a satisfied death, then when they realize that the person doing the acknowledging isn't someone else, but they themselves, that pointless journey can end. Humans who have ended the journey can probably spend the rest of their lives as they wish, with their heads held high. How noble, how praiseworthy would that be? You know, it seems Amakusa's on pretty bad terms with his parents. That makes sense. Any decent parents would want him to get the hell out of the trade he's in. Does it really matter though? As long as it's fun for the person in question? Exactly. That's what it comes down to in the end. Criticism formed by the observations of other people doesn't matter. If your existence is firmly acknowledged by you yourself, that's enough. If you can live with confidence in yourself, you'll surely be able to accept and be satisfied with any kind of lifestyle. I'm sure Amakusa will eventually eat a stray bullet on the battlefield and get seriously injured. He might even die, but I don't think he'd view that as something unfair. I'm sure he'd cackle about how that's also part of life. What a great way to live. I could fall for the guy. Pitiful humans who can't acknowledge themselves, wonder about searching for that their whole lives, and without anything being accepted, they do nothing but grumble and die while still unsatisfied. How pitiful. Compared to people whose lives drag on without any purpose, Amakusa is more likely to eventually die by the roadside, but I think he's much more noble for living his life with a head held high. Aren't the winners in life those who achieve enlightenment? If they can do that even a little sooner, they'll be able to live that much more of their life effectively. With Mammon's words, I finally accepted a certain fact. In the past, I have called that girl unusual, a little strange. However, that wasn't true. All she did was keep her head held high and finish that journey faster than anyone else. Maybe that's what made Maria Onichon so amazing. When she was at the age where she might or might not enter the first year of elementary school, she had already reached that point. For people like us, looking at her life from the outside, it wasn't something we'd call blessed. But even though days like that were engraved in her diary, they always finished up by saying that it was a happy day. Even though the part of her mother that didn't love her daughter came and went, she believed that her mother loved her. The mother's love that didn't exist, she created herself, filling her world with love. Others might observe her as an unsatisfied, pitiful girl, but she herself acknowledged that she was satisfied, and so she was happy that way. It's easy to observe that as something pitiable and sad, but to her that was an outsider's opinion, so it didn't matter. Whether or not it was happy for her was the only important thing. It's just like how when people who live in the city point to the lifestyles of those in rural areas and mourn their inconvenience and feel sympathy for them, it's really none of their business. If those who live there are satisfied with what they have, that's more than enough. I finally noticed something. I noticed it just now. I did something horrible to Maria Onichon, and to you all, and Sakutaro as well, on that day. Whether magic exists or not, it's not up to other people to decide. It's up to you yourself. Whether magic exists to Maria Onichon is a problem for Maria Onichon to decide, not me. And yet, when I was young, on that day, I said it. By saying there was no way magic exists, I heard her. The fact that magic doesn't exist in my eyes matters in my world, but denying it even in Onichon's world for that reason was totally misguided. Mariage Sorcière is the witches' alliance Maria Onichon created. I was invited into it and told to become a witch with them. Thinking it a new, interesting game, I went along with that for a while, but because of the cruelty of youth, I got tired of it halfway through, and I tore her pure heart apart with sharp words. At that time, we must have gotten into a huge fight. I forgot about it right away, but she couldn't forget about it. After all, to her, magic was a natural power that really existed, and she believed that she'd be able to share it with me. To Maria Onichon, magic is a power that can interpret the world as blessed. No, which can truly make everything blessed. She just wanted to share that with me too. The young me tore that feeling apart, so she closed herself up in a shell, assuming that she wouldn't be able to share her magic with anyone. If that's true, then Lady Maria's journey through life wasn't over at all, after all. If she'd been able to accept herself, then there'd be no need to collapse just because you denied her, Eniji-sama. Onichon was young. She still hadn't reached a philosophical viewpoint like Amakusa. Yeah, now I understand. That's why the Witches' Alliance called Mariage Sorcière was necessary. An alliance where each acknowledges that the other is a witch. That's right, I'm pretty sure that was the first article in the agreement of Mariage Sorcière. Witches of the Alliance would acknowledge each other and respect each other. That's the deepest and only meaning of the Witches' Alliance. Maria Onichon wanted to share with me the secret laws to make the world happy called magic. But I was young, and she was too. I hurt her with innocent cruelty. On that day, I said cruel things. To you all and Sakutaro, I said there was no way you exist. How rude. We acknowledge that we exist ourselves. We're not like humans with their souls half asleep. I think, therefore I am. Whether you acknowledge or deny magic, the existence of the magic called the 7 stakes of purgatory is a fact. As long as we acknowledge it ourselves, to borrow your words. It truly would be violence for another person like me to deny it. I'm sure that'd be like having your true mother yell, "I wish you had never been born." No, disappear. Even after being slammed by all those words, Maria Onichon's magic made her believe in her mother's love. Sakutaro, her magic friend, always encouraged her. He kept saying that her mother loved her, that she was coming home late because of her work, and that she would definitely bring back a present. Even after Maria learned that her mother's work wasn't really the cause, magic allowed her to continue believing. And by believing that her mother loved her, by acknowledging herself, she filled her world with love and peace and serenity, establishing it completely. What happened 12 years ago? What happened to my family? This was never a journey to search for that. Then what kind of journey is this? It was a journey to apologize to Maria Onechan for what happened that day. I don't know why, but that's what I think. If I hadn't hurt her, the incident 12 years ago might not have occurred. That's what I think. I have no basis for it. I don't have a clue how hurting Onechan could be connected with that mysterious incident several years later, but for some reason I can't imagine that there's no connection. A witch caused that incident, and the culprit is the Golden Witch Beatrice, and Beatrice was part of the Maria Associere alliance of witches. I horribly hurt the other witch of that alliance. I hurt her with the thought that magic doesn't exist. So several years later, a crime caused by a witch occurred, and a 2-day period that couldn't be explained with anything but magic was thrust in my face thanks to the message bottle. There's no way I wasn't involved somehow. I don't get it. It could be coincidence or it could be fate. For some reason, I've started thinking like that on this journey. And what's your basis for it? I have none. I just think it's true. Huh. The Japanese sure are interesting. Even when they're the victim, they feel as though they did something wrong and apologize for no reason. I could understand if you said I hate Beatrice for stealing my family or something, but you really are weird feeling guilty for no reason and apologizing. Of course I hate Beatrice. I couldn't continue this journey without that feeling. But it's okay to choose yet another purpose for this journey. There's nothing wrong with adding on a goal of apologizing for past sins, in addition to getting revenge on a witch for what happened 12 years ago. I can at least go to Rob Kanjima, apologize for my reckless remarks, and offer flowers. No, there's something better than flowers, and I think that would be more fitting for Onechan. I stood up, not minding that the sea breeze scattered my hair, and concentrated my mind. I lifted my palm up to the height of my head and imagined a vast space. Angie-sama, be quiet.
Come, arise. I am the witch apprentice, Angie Beatrice. I was excommunicated, but I was once a member of the same alliance, and you are the dearly missed furniture who played with me. Answer to my call.
It was hard to tell in the middle of the day, but a faint blue light gathered around the palm of my hand. Then, Sakutaro's form was revived. It truly did bring back memories, that figure. His cute ears, his bright red muffler. It came off easily, so Onechan faithfully rewrapped it all the time, didn't she? Oops. Sakutaro, do you recognize us? Do you know who we are?
Adieu, Mammon, Angie.
So is she becoming the Witch of Resurrection now? With a sleepy face as though waking up from a long slumber, Sakutaro looked all around him as he spoke. It's been a long time, Sakutaro. I'm pretty sure this is the first time I've summoned you with my own power. And now I'm the only one who can summon you.
Adieu.
Those words might have been a bit cruel. Sakutaro's face clouded over. In the past, I denied you. Now that I've summoned you, it means I've accepted your existence.
Are you sure? Is it really right for me to be summoned into Angie's world?
His eyes were a bit frightened. It was only natural. I, who had played with him like a friend before, had suddenly denied him and tried to burn him with a magic-resisting toxin. It was only natural that he was scared. I apologize for that day. To you too, Mammon, and to the rest of you. At some point, the rest of the 7 sisters had gathered on the deck. No, they're always there. Always by my side. As long as I acknowledge that it's okay for them to be there, they'll always appear. You certainly do exist. Lucifer, and Leviathan, and Satan, and Belphegor, and Mammon, and Beelzebub, and Asmodeus, and Sakutaro too.
Are you sure?
You weren't challenging Beatrice-sama. You're the one challenging Beatrice-sama, Angie-sama. Is it okay for one in position of denying witches to acknowledge us? As to whether magic exists or not in my world, sorry, but let me put that on hold. It's not like I myself acknowledge the existence of magic. But then doesn't that contradict the fact that you're acknowledging us? It's because magic exists for people who believe, even if I don't. If someone believes, then magic will exist in the human world. That fact won't change in the slightest whether I believe in magic or not. No, it mustn't change. That person just had to hold their head up high and believe in their own magic. I acknowledge that. So it wouldn't be strange at all for all of you to exist. Quite a play on words, but it's an interesting interpretation. What you're saying, Angie-sama, is probably a devil's proof. A devil's proof? Why, to prove the existence of demons, you just need to find one. But it's impossible to deny the existence of demons. Yeah, and we're here. That means that whether Angie-sama believes in magic or not, our existence is unshakable.
Adieu. The magic-resisting toxin is disappearing from Angie.
You're right. Even though you're in a position of denying magic, why? That's probably because I learned what it means to respect and acknowledge. Right now, I might be able to understand the depths of Maria Onechan's and Beatrice's magic. In the past, I didn't believe in things like magic. Thinking something like that couldn't exist, I acted like I was closing my eyes tightly and couldn't see anything. But now, I'm different. I get the feeling I can look right at the thing called magic and close in on its true nature. How frustrating. It's truly rare to find a human so free of the magic-resisting toxin in this day and age, and she has such an uncommon genius for being a witch. That's right. If Angie-sama tried to become a witch right now, she could grow to be a great witch, maybe even at Beatrice-sama's level. Even so, she has acknowledged our existence and is our master. Most likely, Angie-sama will be our final master. Let us think of this as our final service and apply ourselves to the fullest. Bleh. But I just can't stand that Angie-sama still doesn't believe in magic herself. Angie-sama, please believe in magic too. It feels like a waste to finally have a master and have it not be a witch. Even though you have outstanding talent that could make you one of the greatest witches, your goal is to attack witches. It's so frustrating. Well, even so, that's your life, the way you live, and in the world where you've decided that, there's nothing we can do to complain. Thanks for understanding me. Yeah, whether magic exists to me or not, it's up to me to decide. Regardless of whether magic actually does exist somewhere in the world or not. When I think about it, this world is so vast and yet so small. Billions of people live on the earth, but I probably won't meet even 1% of those people. Even so, I will speak of a world, my world, which doesn't know even 1% of the world. I'm not qualified to deny the laws of a world I don't know, so just because magic doesn't exist in my world, I cannot deny that magic exists in a world I don't know. That makes it a true devil's proof. No, maybe it's more like when in Rome, do as the Romans do. I can be confident in the world I know, so even if that's denied by a complete stranger who doesn't know a thing about my world, there's nothing to worry about. And in the same way, I've got no right to deny a world I don't know, just because I don't know about it. Therefore, regardless of whether there's magic in my world or not, I can't deny the magic Maria Onechan taught me.
Would you? After all, even if you've never seen it, magic exists.
Yes, that's why, as I've already said, you Friends of the Witches Alliance, Maria Associée, cannot be denied by me or anyone else. I proclaim that most important part again. Even though the sea breeze and the crashing of the waves were noisy, it was a time of silence. Both Sakutaro and the Seven Sisters of Purgatory reflected upon my words, and probably I did too. Does magic exist? Do witches exist? While ignoring what the answer would be for my own world, I acknowledged their existence. That contradiction was what I'd proclaimed so boldly.
Thank you, Angie.
If you'll acknowledge that much, can't you acknowledge witches too? No, that was a foolish question. You already have a clear answer to it. Sorry. Though I do acknowledge that witches might exist somewhere in this world, but that doesn't shake my world. You won't acknowledge witches or magic. You'll definitely expose the truth of Rokkenjima, right? Yes, that's my world. Even if a real witch exists, I won't acknowledge it in my world, no matter how much that witch tries to convince me. Your position is to attack witches, Angie-sama. And I understand well that you haven't the slightest wavering in that feeling. We are your furniture, the Seven Sisters of Purgatory. We will always be by your side. We'll always be waiting for the day that we can be useful. Although since you don't believe in magic, we can never be anything more than people to talk to. That's enough for now. We've been left room to exist. For that alone we should thank and acknowledge Angie-sama. In short, all of us.
Are all together again. Adieu.
Yeah, Sakutaro, let me squeeze you. When Sakutaro was overcome with emotion and tears came to his eyes, the Seven Sisters closed in and mobbed him. They were also celebrating a long-missed reunion. If their existence is permitted, they are definitely capable of existing here. No, even if I don't permit it, they can exist. Because I acknowledged them, they showed their reunion's joy to me as well. As I watched over that scene, I reflected over what this journey of mine meant. I wonder if everyone will forgive me this way. You've done enough. We are furniture. Just being summoned, just being allowed to be by your side makes us happy.
Adieu, Angie, thank you very much.
Come to think of it, why was I able to summon Sakutaro? No, it's the other way around. Why wasn't Onechan able to summon Sakutaro? Maria Onechan had despaired, thinking that Sakutaro had died, which meant she hadn't been able to summon him like this anymore. In the past, Onechan said it was more advantageous in a summoning to have a vessel. However, a vessel is like training wheels, and it shouldn't be absolutely necessary. In other words, even if the stuffed animal lion that was Sakutaro's vessel didn't exist, it should have been possible to summon him. No, when you put it like that, it's even a little doubtful whether summoned things can be limited to life and death. Moreover, Sakutaro should have been an especially important friend to Maria Onechan. She should have been able to strive hard to summon him one more time. It certainly was sad that the original stuffed animal vessel had been torn apart, but why did he die and become impossible to summon again?
That's because at that time Maria saw my stuffed animal torn and decided that I had died.
It's the same as the existence of magic. If Sakutaro has died in Lady Maria's world, then he cannot exist in her world.
No.
The shock of having her beloved stuffed animal torn apart had left a wound in her heart serious enough to prevent her from summoning her irreplaceable close friend. In Maria Onechan's eyes, Sakutaro died, so even if Sakutaro can exist like this to me, he cannot exist before her.
I was always with Maria. When Maria cried, I was always right beside her, telling her not to cry. But my form, my voice, nothing of me will reach Maria now.
Sakutaro hung his head, looking sad. After that incident, the nature of Maria's sorcière rapidly began to change. Before then, the alliance was a peaceful thing. But after that incident, it grew full of shadier things, focusing on how to curse people you hate. Onechan's diary began to show a clear change. A diary is a mirror that reflects one's heart as it is. It probably showed the personality called Maria die, and be reborn as the evil witch personality Maria. When she buried that diary in hatred and sadness, her heart surely wasn't satisfied. Because it wasn't satisfied, she had to bury it with hatred and sadness. And while still unsatisfied, she met with death. I wonder if her unsatisfied soul has a hole open in its chest from sadness even now, and continually wanders, dripping tears down and calling Sakutaro's name. Onechan needs you.
Adieu.
What can I do to revive you in Maria Onechan's world? If I can learn that method, I'll be able to save Onechan. That's the method of atonement I've been given. What can be done to revive Sakutaro?
To Maria, my vessel had a very important meaning.
The vessel. In other words, if we could revive the lion stuffed animal, just to make a new one.
But Mama Rosa made my stuffed animal herself, so only she could make it.
Even inside the diary, Maria Onechan had asked this of Beatrice and was refused for that reason. The magical significance of a stuffed animal being unique and handmade is very large. Then if we could make the same thing once more, but Aunt Rosa is already gone from this world, we can't make the same thing again. Was there ever another identical stuffed animal made or anything like that? He's a stuffed animal made to be Lady Maria's birthday present and is the only one of his kind in the world, a handmade and unique vessel. That's why it conceals a great magical power, and if lost it cannot be obtained again. It won't revive. Because she knew that, Maria Onechan watched that stuffed animal, which was unique in that world, get torn apart and despaired. Because it was the only one of its kind in the world, and she couldn't permit a compromise such as buying another one, she had despaired from the bottom of her heart. But Sakutaro is right here. Even without a vessel, he's here. Because I acknowledge that, he certainly exists in my world. Even if Maria Onechan doesn't acknowledge him, that cannot be denied, right? Logically, that's true, but I think using the same logic to make Lady Maria accept him could be difficult.
Maria, I'm not dead. I'm right here with you.
I'm sure that on Kenjima, I'll be able to be reunited with Maria Onechan, and no matter what, I'll revive the you that's inside Onechan and let you be reunited.
Can you do it?
It'll probably be hard. Just like how, after being invited into the Witches' Alliance, I rejected it without understanding what it meant, she might also reject your existence. But I've got to do it. That's the only way I can atone for my sins. Angie-sama. What's waiting on Lord Kenjima? And what will happen? What will be created? Or maybe nothing will happen. That island, which was the beginning of everything, is the final destination of this journey. You all are the furniture of a witch, so as your master, I have to take you home to the Witch's Island, to Lord Kenjima. Even though the rays of the sun had been so strong, at some point clouds had started to hang down. The spray that hit my cheek might not all have come from crashing waves.
Angie-san, looks like we're gonna get a bit of a shower. Maybe you'd better go below deck.
Amakusa called out to me with an expression that said, "Oh, you're still here?" When I looked up, I saw that the island silhouette had gotten much larger. We might reach land very soon. I remembered that the weather report had mentioned scattered rains, or maybe a typhoon? The sky wasn't dark enough for rain clouds. It'll probably be just for a short time. Even though the rain was light enough not to be a pain, having rain start to fall as we approached the island felt like some kind of fate. It was raining on October 4th, 1986 as well. I'm approaching the Rokkanjima of that day, and not just in distance. I went back down with Amakusa. He was carrying what looked like a really large and heavy golf bag. It was something Amakusa had brought back with him on a day when we'd split up. I didn't inquire as to its contents, but it was hard to imagine that there were anything peaceful. I won't go so far as to ask what's inside, but it looks heavy. Why are these things so darn heavy all the time? A French instructor taught me something interesting about that once. He said they should always be heavy. After all, human life is heavier than the world, so these should be even heavier. It would be nice if you didn't need to use them. That would be nice. Amakusa set the golf bag like luggage down beside him. The two propeller aircraft touched down on the runway. Considering the weather, it couldn't have been a pleasant flight. Everything after this flight had been suspended due to weather. Oh, not her again. Cutting through the drizzle as she traversed the runway, Sumadera Kasumi entered the lobby with 2 black suits as guards. The 4 black suits who had been waiting inside the lobby stood up and respectfully lowered their heads in salute. Kasumi-sama! Propeller blades certainly do shake. I wouldn't want to ride one again. We have a car prepared. Please, this way. They got into 2 luxury cars that had been rendered. And you should be heading for Rokkanjima, a deserted island. How convenient. You've arranged for some tools, I take it? Yes, ma'am. The black suit in the passenger seat put a heavy bag that had been set by his feet into his lap, opened the catch with a click, and showed Kasumi what was inside. Inside were several silver lumps of carefully wrapped aluminum foil. He peeled one open to show her. A black blunt automatic pistol peeked its face out. Cool. Amakusa's just gonna shoot them all. Back to the mansion. Damn, it's almost 11. It was already approaching 10 at night. By now the typhoon had wrapped itself around Rokkanjima. Even the rose garden. Oh my god, mansion, yeah. Even the rose garden that had looked so beautiful midday was beaten down upon by the fierce winds and resisted with all its might, undulating and trying to keep the flower from blowing away. In that rose garden was Shannon in the lead, Battler holding up an umbrella, Jessica and George carrying the sleeping Maria on his back, all heading for the guest house. We can at least make it to the guest house from here. Shannon-chan, it's fine, you should go back and rest. Don't worry, seeing you off is also part of my duty. The family conference is going on inside, and Mom and Genji-san are probably getting stressed. If we keep you, they'll misunderstand and think you are being lazy. That's right. Just graciously accepting our offers might be the best way to avoid burdening people. Thank you, Shannon. Not at all. Certainly, as Milady has said, it is very tense inside the mansion today. Therefore, coming with all of you allowed me a breath of fresh air, and I've been able to relax a bit. The family conference, huh? They went to all the trouble of chasing his kids out, so they're probably talking about something shady. Probably. I'm sure there's nothing we can do to help out. Just trying to stay out of their way is probably the best way for us to be useful. Huh. I'm sure it's all just money, money, money. Even though they act like they're so rich most of the time, when it gets tough they all start getting pushy. Why don't they just be graceful and split it evenly between everyone? That'd be awesome. It'd be nice if I got a share too. If I got some too, I would split it with Shannon-chan right away. Thank you very much. Well, I appreciate the sentiment. Shannon isn't greedy at all. Normally girls of your age would have tons of things they wanted, boy. I guess. But none of the things I want can be bought with money. I just want my Georgie Borgie. Oh, how unselfish. If you lined up all the things I wanted, all the gold in the world wouldn't be enough. That's if you're talking about things that can be bought with money. I wonder what these things that can't be bought with money that Shannon wants are. Do you have any idea, George Nissan? Well, I wonder. I'm not Shannon, so how could I know? I don't know either. George and Shannon looked down, their faces red. Bella had also heard about what was going on with them, so he knew what Jessica was teasing them about. George Aniki is a person I respect. I think you've met up with a really great person, Shannon-chan. Yeah, I also feel relieved that we can leave Shannon to George Nissan. Stop teasing. It's a serious issue for us. More importantly, what about you, Jessica-chan? Have you been able to get a little closer to Kanon-kun? So you and Kanon-kun are like that? That's dirty, George. Twisting the conversation around like that's dirty. As they had an animated discussion with ups and downs, the four kids headed for the guest house. The annual family conference was extremely important to the Shiromiya family, and this year seemed like it was going to be especially important. Apparently the family head, Kinzo, was personally going to be making a very serious announcement. Oh, no, please. I don't want to see the scary lizard eye, whatever that was, fish eye. I lift you up with one finger, Kinzo, ever again. I'm pregnant. And everyone other than adults have been strictly ordered to leave. But that also means that nobody else is going to actually witness whether he is alive. Like, I don't know. Bettler hadn't attended the family conference in 6 years, so he didn't really notice, but according to Jessica, there seemed to be a very tense atmosphere tonight, completely different from a normal year. I mean, we could be shown all kinds of crazy stuff again, but as long as Bettler is not there, I'm not even sure how much to trust the narration anymore. Even when things are shown to Bettler, I'm not sure how much to trust the narration. Common sense made it clear that Kinzo, whose remaining life was short, was going to make some big announcement about the succession of the headship and the distribution of the fortune. But I'm surprised to think that grandfather's actually going to make an appearance this time. See, so this is the witch's counterattack. I wanted to leave the Joker called Kinzo face down a little longer, but it's probably about time to turn it over. Trump cards exist to be used. Damn, my theory that grandfather was dead since the beginning and a different 18th person had snuck in is now suddenly torn apart. I had foreseen that you'd begin to doubt Kinzo eventually. Yes, now your reasoning has all gone back to square one again, right? With this, your theory that Kinzo was dead at the very beginning and I was hiding as the 18th person goes poof. Fuck, but no way I'll lose heart. That's only one theory gone. I'll attack you like a storm, like a tornado. Really? I haven't seen much blue of you yet. I'd have it no other way. Even the first twilight has not yet begun. It is far too early to give up. That's right. And it's not like it was denied with the red truth. At this point in time, Bettler's theory hasn't been defeated. It's too early to say that you've won. Yeah, that's right. It's still too early for me to just swallow our story. Grandfather's supposed to finally appear, but there's a chance that they'll talk about how his health has gotten worse, and he won't appear after all. Uncle Klaus might be trying desperately to hide the fact that grandfather really is dead until the last second. Ha! I see. You could also think of it that way. Do as you please. It will be resolved soon. Very soon. Yeah. I guess with those two statements, yours would actually be more believable, Aaron. All of the relatives and Nanjo could be seen in the dining hall. Nanjo sat alone, quietly watching the wind and rain outside. Klaus sat down in the seat of his own rank, with Natsuhi standing motionlessly at his side. What, she's not allowed to sit down? Fucking bullshit. The other siblings were gathered at the opposite end of the long table, whispering to each other. Sometimes when I see opposite, my mind first thinks it's opposing, so I start saying opposite, and then I have to correct myself to opposite. Kinda annoying. Don't know why I felt like mentioning that. Is that true? Yes. Maria said the person who gave her the umbrella was what? Why? All the goddamn time it was Beatrice and now it's suddenly father. What's father? So, maybe in episode 1, 2, and 3 it was Kinzo dressed up as Beatrice after all. Sometimes you say Japanese like it's Japanese. That's kind of funny.
What in the world? In other words, our strategy has collapsed from the roots.
Not just our strategy. Since Father's healthy and has said that he'll make an announcement himself, our trivial bargaining with Nissan was completely pointless.
Yep. That old bastard. Why couldn't he have just sown himself right away without making a show of it? Thanks to that, we've just been quarreling with Aniki uselessly.
Or maybe he wanted to test us on that point. I might not be one to talk since we aren't related by blood, but your father is very intelligent, correct? Our arguments during the day were probably overheard by one of the servants and reported to Father. Incredible. The fact that we were making a fuss with Father's inheritance as our goal is now right in the open. Just incredible. Eva uncharacteristically held her head, dejected. If, as Kyria had said, everything had been going according to Kinzo's plans from the beginning, and if this was a huge setup that had been kept up for over a year trying to find the siblings' true intentions, then they had fallen for it completely.
We still don't know for sure that it's reached Father's ears.
No, it definitely has. Everyone but Nissan claimed that Father was dead, and none of us believed in Father's good health. It's already over. Father will make an announcement. Nissan will become the successor, and he'll say we aren't even qualified to wear the one wing. Nissan, get a hold of yourself.
You should before you say get a hold of yourself to anybody, you should get a hold of your entire life, Rosa.
Rosa-san, I wonder if Maria really received that umbrella from Father. Huh? What do you mean? Maria-chan might have seen Father. However, we haven't seen him. We haven't seen him. Maria-chan only claims to have seen him. What are you saying? Are you saying Maria's lying?
Calm down, Rosa. Maria-chan didn't necessarily lie. Still, she's an innocent kid, right? For example, if Genji-san came up to her and said something like, I was told by your grandfather to hand this to you, Maria-sama, then even if Maria-chan hadn't met Dad, she still might say that she got an umbrella from him, right?
That's right. The trick could work.
But what was it Maria-chan said? Grandfather came and handed me the umbrella.
Yes, that's what she said. She clearly said that she received an umbrella directly from Grandfather.
Indeed.
I love this creepy sound, by the way. I mean, I said that before, but I still love it. She clearly said that she received an umbrella directly from Grandfather.
Directly, huh? Then we're stuck.
They often say that bad thinking is no better than sleeping. If you think about it a bit, all of this about the umbrella is a trivial problem. Why is that? Could Maria-chan have been bribed by Nissan to lie and say something that made it seem like Father was in good health? There's no evidence that Father actually handed the umbrella to her. Regardless of who Maria-chan received the umbrella from, assuming she was even given an umbrella in the first place, Father will appear very soon. Once Father is in front of us, the problem with the umbrella will become completely trivial. In other words, this is not the time to gossip about the umbrella issue.
What do you mean this isn't the time? I see, I got it. This is probably what Kiryu-san is saying. Father's supposed to come here very soon, but the chance still remains that he'll get mad again and won't show up, right?
I see. That's true. Maybe Nissan just said Father was going to appear at random in a desperate bid to buy time against our investigation. Father really is dead already, and Nissan is still lying and saying he's healthy. In short, if Father appears, then no schemes will be effective. There's no need to even think about that case. We're fish on the chopping board. We'd have no choice but to leave fate to the heavens and negotiate directly with Father. That means we'd have no choice but to let him clobber with his fist, then prostrate ourselves and beg for money. But on the other hand, if Father doesn't appear, then our primary strategy isn't hampered in the least. I see. In short, no matter which way it goes, there's absolutely no need to get flustered now. That's it. If Father shows up, we just have to carry out the normal family conference. If he doesn't, we just have to keep on investigating Klaus-san.
We can't let him talk his way out of it. Like if he says Father's mood has suddenly gotten worse.
It seems what we really should be trying to figure out is what scheme Nissan is going to try and trick us with. The way he just doesn't know how to give up is something I know better than anyone. If Father's well, we'll prostrate ourselves and beg for money. If it's a farce of Klaus-san's, then we'll continue our ugly sibling fight. It sounds like this year's family conference is going to be just wonderful.
Yep, so bad thinking is no better than sleeping, huh? It's almost 20, it's almost 10 o'clock. Should we press Aniki?
Rudolph and the rest looked at Klaus. He was sitting down firmly and looked like he was awaiting Kinzo's arrival with an air of composure. They couldn't tell if he really was composed or if he was scheming about how to tie together his lie.
Dear.
Calm yourself. We won't get anywhere by making a fuss after all this. Let's leave it to Genji-san.
It's almost 10, isn't it? That was the time that had been set for tonight's family conference to open, and it was the time that the Ushinomiya family had needed to appear. Right then, they heard the sound of footsteps approaching from the hall. There were multiple sets. Natsuhiri raised her head, relieved. But because of the sound of a knock, her expression was filled with disappointment. Because Kinzo probably wouldn't have knocked, he would just flung the door open epically.
Please excuse us. I have finished closing up the mansion for the night.
It was Goda and Kumasawa. Unlike the powerful Goda, it was rare for Kumasawa with her old body to be forced to work this late. Of course, Klaus also seemed to know that.
Indeed. Good work. My apologies for making work at such a time, Kumasawa-san.
Oh, it's nothing. I may not look it, but staying up late is still one of my specialties. Ho ho ho. It gives me time to hide dead mackerels in every corner of the mansion.
Wouldn't it be okay to at least let Kumasawa leave without being an observer? It really will be difficult on her body, I imagine.
The order was to gather all of the servants as well. I cannot disobey.
Tonight's family conference was clearly different from normal. On a normal year, no one was allowed to attend except family members. To have the servants present for such a thing was unthinkable. But this year was different. All of the servants were told to attend. Of course, they were not allowed to talk. They were there as observers. Just what in the world was happening that needed to be observed by 5 servants? Even Klaus didn't know.
Ho ho ho. I don't look it, but I'm good at staying up late. If you stuff yourself with mackerel too, Klaus-sama, you'll be more manly at night.
I see you're still in high spirits. I'm sure you'll be working in such high spirits until you're 100.
Madam, forgive my rare arrogance, but I have prepared a light snack. I can serve it at any time, so feel free to order it. Thank you. You really are considerate. Please offer refills of coffee to the others.
Certainly. After nodding, Goda took up the pot towards the relatives gathered at the other end of the table. As he did, more footsteps approached from the hallway. It was a single set, and it was light. Oh, is it Kano? Even before the knock, they could imagine who it was. Oh, Shannon, okay.
Excuse me. I've taken the children to the guest house. Good work. Tonight is a special evening. Make sure you stay alert. Yes, certainly, madam.
Genji had gone with Kano to meet Kinzo. There was still no sign of their return. The hand of the clock passed 10 o'clock slightly. Once sure of that, Eva spoke to Klaus.
Nissan, it's time. Are you still not going to start the family conference?
The arrival of the guest of honor has been delayed. Wait a short while.
How long? Sorry, but time is up. I won't have you saying father hasn't quite shown up yet, over and over until dawn.
How could I make a promise about the time father shows up? Why are you in such a rush? Why not drink some tea and calm down for now?
Aniki, we're gathered here for a family conference, not a farce. We'll wait 30 more minutes, but if that doesn't work, you'll let us break into the study, okay?
Break into? Such an action would be quite lacking in respect for the head. All right, our apologies. We'll be good for 30 more minutes. I look forward to seeing if you can keep that same smile up for 30 minutes from now.
So you honestly believe that father is dead?
I have no desire to discuss that now. We can wait until father comes here. There's absolutely no need for me to argue you down, Nisa.
The Ushinomiya headship will be passed on to the proper person in the proper manner. No matter what you may scheme, you cannot resist. Of course, the same goes for me.
What are you trying to say? And after bragging all these years about being the successor yourself?
I turn your old words back on you. I have no desire to discuss that now. All that matters is for father to come here and proclaim it with his own mouth. There's absolutely no need for me to argue you down. Right?
Klaus casually turned Eva's words back on her. Of course, that added oil to Eva's anger, but it didn't ignite, because in that instant, the sound of a very long, loud knock rang out. This is where I'm going to cliffhang your asses, because I think this is a very good point for that. Okay, I really cannot wait to see what happens next. God damn it. Why does it have to be 11 already? But that's how it is. And I mean, not sure if I can do yet another stream tomorrow, but if not, it's just gonna be 2 days anyway. It's almost Sunday. So, we'll see. I just saved it again, don't know why. But yeah, okay. Time to stop the recording.